Hello and welcome to the WRFL Weekend Preview. Andrew Wilson here along with Peppe Cavalieri. Welcome, Peppe.
G'day, Willow.
Let's start with Division 2, Peppe. It's the grand final, Saturday afternoon at Yarraville Oval. Point Cook Central's take on Parkside. This is our match of the day on 88.9 Win FM. So tune in from 1:30. It's a premiership and a perfect 20-0 season on the line for Point Cook Centrals as they take on Parkside, who come into the grand final with nothing to lose after 3 losses to the Sharks this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Parkside sort of can just have a free run at it, really. They're going in as still massive underdogs, you'd think, even though they have got close at least one occasion throughout the season, round 14, where they only lost by 4 points. But the other 2 games, Willow, comprehensive wins to the Sharks around the 11-goal mark. So I think it went 11 goals, 4 points, 11 goals. So maybe we're due for a close one in the decider, which would be terrific for a spectacle for all the fans that are going to turn out down there. Should be a cracking game. Parkside obviously coming off a pretty big final quarter to see off North Footscray last week in the preliminary final. So they'll be confident, and that result early in the year will give them confidence that they can challenge Point Cook Centrals. But as you mentioned, 20-0 season on the line. It should be a huge game. I think for mine, the Sharks might get up, but whether they can handle the occasion and the expectation will be, I think, probably the biggest challenge for them. Yeah,
I think the Sharks will win that one comfortably. Not comfortably, I think they'll win it after their performance 2 weeks ago against Parkside. I think they'll be too strong in this one. So Point Cook Centrals for both of us to win the Division 2 Premiership. Now let's go TIV Division 1, second semi-final, Saturday afternoon at Avalon Airport Oval. Caroline Springs taking on Altona. The Vikings started slow last week but stormed home after half-time to defeat the Lions, and now they face the Lakers, who are all rested up for a place in the TIV Division 1 Grand Final.
Yeah, another similar sort of vibe to Division 2. Caroline Springs have gone through the season being probably the elite team in the competition that everyone's tried to chase down. They won the minor premiership, just lost the one game for the season, home and away. It was to Altona later in the campaign, so that will give the Vikings a little bit of hope, who weren't their best in the first half last week, Willow, against Deer Park, but we know the Lions in finals are formidable, but they turned the screws down in the second half, 7 goals to nothing in the third quarter. So that's impressive against any opposition, especially Deer Park. So obviously grand final up for grabs for these 2 teams, and we know the loser has a second chance. I think Caroline Springs still get the job done. I think they've proven so far throughout this season that they are the best team, and if they can handle the pressure, their football stacks up, Willow.
Yeah, it does. I'm going to tip the Lakers to win as well. Having the week off will certainly benefit them a lot, and I think they'll get the win and advance to the grand final in a couple of weeks. TIV Division 1's first semi-final on Sunday at Avalon Airport Oval is Deer Park taking on Werribee Districts. The Lions started fantastically last week against Altona, but faded in the second half, while it was the opposite for Werribee Districts, who started slowly against Hoppers Crossing, but they stormed home in the second half, and they've eliminated the Warriors with that victory, and now they look to keep their season alive this week against Deer Park.
Yeah, absolutely, and they can't be taken lightly, Willow, Werribee Districts, because they're probably, if not the form team in Division 1, one of at the moment. They've got the hot form coming in. They've won 5 in a row, so they can't be underestimated by Deer Park, who won't be pleased with their second half. I'm sure they'll be going to work this week on the training track to try to figure out what went wrong, because if they let the floodgates open against them, they could concede quickly against Werribee Districts that can score heavily. So, look, I just still think that I edge my tip towards Deer Park. They finished top 3 for a reason. Werribee Districts are going to have to do it the hard way. I think a very close game is going to be on our hands this weekend, Willow, and I think the Lions just.
You're on the Lions. I'm on the Tigers. They've showed some really good form to end the season, and they were really good last week in knocking off Hoppers Crossings. That was TIV Division 1. Now Alan Mance Motors Division 3. It's the preliminary final on Sunday at Pennell Reserve. Vale taking on Braybrook. The Cobras were comfortably defeated by the Suns last weekend, while the Brookers won a thriller against the Dragons, and they both advanced to the Alan Mance Motors Division 3 preliminary final.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, Willow, because I think most people would expect Auburn to win, but if you look at their matches against Braybrook throughout the season, it's been a tale of sort of two stories, I suppose. Earlier in the season, it was just 8 points between them. It's hard to read a lot into games that far back, but still, it happened. And then round 10, 72-point win to Auburn-Vale, and then they only won by 16 points in round 17. So the Brookers will be confident that they can cause an upset if they play their best and they perhaps make it difficult for Auburn-Vale. So it's an intriguing matchup, but I think based on what we've seen, Auburn-Vale are the second best team in the comp, and there still is a bit of a gap to Braybrook. So if things go the way we expect them to, I think the Cobras will win. But just you never know when it gets into this nitty-gritty end of the season, and stranger things can happen. So I think the Cobras will win, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's a pretty close one. Yeah,
I'm on the Cobras as well. They've clearly been the second best team in the competition. They probably consider themselves to be the best team. But I agree with you. There did seem to be a gap between the Suns and Auburn-Vale and the rest of the competition. So I'm on the Cobras. That was Alan Mance Motors Division 3. This has been the WRFL Weekend Preview. Good luck to your team this weekend.